My name is Diane Washington. I'm 59 years old, and I have a master's degree in education from Howard University. I taught high school English for 32 years before I retired. I know the difference between affect and effect. I can diagram a sentence. I can analyze Shakespeare until the cows come home. But you know what skill has served me better than any of that? Knowing how to read a utility bill and pay it on time. My niece Jasmine has a bachelor's degree in political science from Georgetown, a minor in international relations, and can discuss foreign policy with the confidence of someone who's spent 4 years in seminar rooms debating global affairs. Last Tuesday, she called me in tears because her electricity got shut off and she had no idea why. They just turned it off, Auntie Diane, without warning. I came home from the gym and everything was dark. Did you pay your bill? What bill? Your electric bill, Jasmine. I didn't know I had to pay that separately. I thought it was included in rent. This child is 24 years old. She graduated magna cum laude, and she genuinely thought electricity was free as long as you paid rent. Let me back up and explain how we got here, because this isn't just about one unpaid bill. This is about an entire generation of highly educated young people who can write a 20-page thesis on political theory but can't navigate basic adult life. Jasmine is my brother Marcus's daughter. Marcus is a surgeon. His wife Linda is a corporate lawyer. They have money, real money, the kind of money where you don't worry about money. Jasmine grew up in a 6-bedroom house in Potomac, Maryland. She had a housekeeper, a meal service, and parents who handled every single practical detail of life so she could focus on academics. And focus she did: straight A's, debate team captain, student government, early acceptance to Georgetown. I was proud of her. We all were. She was going places. What nobody realized was that she was going places without the faintest idea how to actually live once she got there. After graduation last May, Jasmine got a job at a think tank in D.C. Good starting salary, benefits, the whole package. She was excited to finally be independent, to have her own apartment, to be a real adult. Her parents helped her find a 1-bedroom in Columbia Heights, co-signed the lease, paid the first month's rent and security deposit, bought her furniture, and sent her off into the world. That was 6 months ago. 2 weeks ago, Jasmine called me. Auntie Diane, can I come stay with you for a little while? I live in Baltimore, about an hour from D.C. I've got a spare room. I said yes. What's going on, baby? Everything okay? Yeah, totally fine. I need a reset. My apartment situation isn't working out. What happened? It's complicated. Can I just come this weekend? She showed up Saturday morning with 4 suitcases and a houseplant that was clearly dying. Hey, Auntie! She hugged me tight. She looked exhausted. Come on in, baby. You want some coffee? Do you have oat milk? I have regular milk. That's okay. I'll just have it black. We sat at my kitchen table, and I waited for her to tell me what was really going on. So, I said gently, you want to tell me why you're really here? She burst into tears. Through the sobbing, the story came out. She'd been evicted from her apartment, not for partying or being a bad tenant, but for not paying rent. For 3 months. I don't understand, I said. You have a job, a good job. How did you not pay rent? I was paying it. I set up an automatic transfer from my checking account. And I didn't realize I needed to actually have money in my checking account for the transfer to work. I thought. I don't know what I thought. I just set it up and assumed it was handled. I stared at her. Jasmine, where did you think the money was coming from? I don't know. I've never had to think about it before. Mom and Dad always things just happened. This was worse than I thought. Over the next few days, as Jasmine settled into my spare room, I discovered the full extent of what she didn't know. She didn't know you had to pay for water separately from rent. She didn't know garbage collection wasn't free. She didn't know that past due meant you owed money right now, not at some vague future date. She didn't know that ignoring bills doesn't make them go away. She didn't know you had to pay for internet service monthly, not just once when you set it up. She didn't know what a credit score was or why it mattered. She didn't know how to read a bank statement. She had $3,000 in overdraft fees because she kept swiping her debit card even when there was no money in her account, thinking the bank would just handle it. Handle it how? I asked, trying not to scream. I don't know. That's what banks do, right? They handle money. Jasmine, banks hold your money. They don't just give you money when you run out. But I have a credit card. That's credit. That's borrowed money you have to pay back with interest. What's interest? I had to take a walk around the block. When I came back, I found Jasmine crying in the spare room, surrounded by unopened envelopes. What are all these? Bills, I think? I don't know. They kept coming to my apartment and I put them in a box. I was going to deal with them, but I didn't know how. And then there were so many and I ignored them. I picked up an envelope. It was from her electric company. Final notice in red letters. Another one from her credit card company. AC account delinquent. Another from a collections agency. Jasmine, these are serious. This one says they're going to take you to court. Court? For what? For not paying your bills, baby. She looked at me with genuine confusion. But I didn't know I was supposed to pay them. Nobody taught me this. And there it was. The truth that nobody wants to say out loud. We're graduating students who can discuss Foucault and deconstruct media narratives but can't balance a checkbook. I sat down next to her. Okay, we're going to fix this. But Jasmine, I need you to understand something. You're 24 years old. You have a degree from one of the best universities in the country. You work at a think tank analyzing public policy. But you can't pay a light bill on time. Do you see the problem? I'm stupid. You're not stupid. You're uneducated. Not uneducated in general, you're highly educated. But you're uneducated about real life. And that's not entirely your fault. Your parents sheltered you. They handled everything. They wanted you to focus on academics, so they took care of all the practical stuff. But baby, they did you a disservice. Because now you're out here trying to adult and you don't have the basics. So what do? You're about to get a crash course in Life Skills 101. And I'm going to be your professor. That Sunday afternoon, we spread out all her bills, bank statements, and financial paperwork on my dining room table. First lesson, I said. We're going to open every single one of these envelopes and see what we're dealing with. Do we have to? Yes. Ignoring problems doesn't make them disappear. It makes them worse. Open. She started opening, and with each envelope, her eyes got wider. This says, I owe $1,200 to the electric company. Keep going. This says my credit card is maxed out and I owe $4,000. Keep going. This is from collections for $800 for something called balance due. By the time we finished, Jasmine owed over $9,000 in various bills, fees, and penalties, plus the 3 months back rent she owed her landlord before the eviction. She put her head in her hands. I'm so screwed. You're not screwed. You're in a hole. But we can dig out. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to call your parents and tell them everything. No, they'll be so disappointed. They'll be more disappointed if this turns into a legal mess. You need help, Jasmine. Real help. The kind that requires money you don't have. Can't you help me? I'm retired on a fixed income. I can't bail you out of $9,000 in debt. Your parents can. But more importantly, this is a conversation you need to have with them about how they raised you. That night, Jasmine called her parents. I could hear Marcus yelling through the phone. How did you let it get this bad? I didn't know, Dad. Didn't know what? Didn't know you had to pay bills? Linda got on the phone. She was calmer, but not any happier. Jasmine, we're very disappointed. We gave you every advantage. You gave me everything except the ability to actually function as an adult, Jasmine said, and I was proud of her for saying it. There was a long silence. Then Linda said, We're coming up this weekend to talk about this in person. Marcus and Linda arrived Saturday morning. Marcus looked like he was ready to lecture. Linda looked concerned. I made coffee and stayed in the room because Jasmine asked me to. Dad, Mom, before you start yelling, I need to say something. Marcus opened his mouth, but Linda put a hand on his arm. I messed up. I messed up bad. I owe almost $10,000. I got evicted. My credit is probably destroyed, and all of that is on me. I'm an adult, and I should have figured it out. Yes, you should have, Marcus started. But, Jasmine continued, I also need you to hear this. You guys never taught me any of this. You handled everything. You paid for everything. You made sure I never had to worry about money or bills or practical life stuff because you wanted me to focus on school. And I appreciate that. I do. But Dad, Mom, I graduated magna cum laude, and I didn't know I had to pay for electricity. Do you see how that's a problem? Marcus looked uncomfortable. Linda looked like she was starting to understand. We wanted to protect you, Linda said quietly. I know, but you protected me so much that I can't protect myself now. I can write a policy brief on campaign finance reform, but I can't read my own bank statement. That's not your fault entirely, but it's also not entirely mine. There was a long silence. Finally, Marcus said, What do you need? I need you to help me pay off this debt so it doesn't destroy my credit before I even have credit. But I also need you to let me pay you back. Not right away, but over time. Because I need to learn what it feels like to be responsible for money. And I need you guys to let me struggle a little bit, Jasmine added. Don't bail me out every time. Let me figure things out. Let me mess up small so I don't mess up big again. Linda looked at me. Diane, you've been quiet. I'm just watching my niece grow up in real time, I said. It's beautiful and painful at the same time. Marcus and Linda agreed to pay off Jasmine's debts, but with conditions. She had to create a budget. She had to attend a financial literacy class. She had to pay them back over 2 years. And she had to stay with me for 6 months while she learned how to actually manage her life. 6 months? Jasmine asked. 6 months, I confirmed. You're going to learn everything your fancy education left out. And that's how I became a life skills instructor for a Georgetown graduate. Week 1. Bills and utilities. I showed Jasmine how to set up automatic payments the right way, making sure money was actually in the account. We created a spreadsheet of all her monthly expenses. We called each utility company and made payment arrangements. This is so much work, she complained. This is being an adult. Adults are tired all the time, aren't they? Now you're getting it. Week 2. Grocery shopping and cooking. Jasmine had been living on Grubhub and DoorDash, spending literally $20 per meal. Do you know how much money you'd save if you cooked? I asked. I don't know how to cook. You're about to learn. I taught her how to make a grocery list based on actual meals, not random ingredients. I taught her to check for sales. I taught her that generic brands are usually the same as name brands for half the price. Wait, you're telling me I can buy pasta for $1 instead of $5 and it tastes the same? Welcome to the real world, baby. We cook together every night. Simple stuff, spaghetti, chicken and rice, tacos, stir fry. Meals that cost less than $10 to make and provided leftovers for lunch. This is actually good, she said, eating the spaghetti she'd made herself. Tastes better when you make it with your own money you saved. That's deep, Auntie. That's reality. Week 3. Laundry and basic household maintenance. You mean I have to clean my own bathroom? Jasmine asked, horrified. Who did you think was going to clean it? The bathroom fairy? In my apartment, it never really got clean. I believe that. Come on. I'm teaching you how to scrub a toilet. This is disgusting. Life is disgusting sometimes. That's why we clean. I taught her how to do laundry without turning everything pink, how to unclog a drain, how to change a light bulb, how to use a plunger. Why didn't they teach this in school? She asked while learning to use a mop. Because schools assume parents teach it, and your parents assumed life would just happen. It doesn't just happen, does it? No, baby. You make it happen. Week 4. Transportation and time management. Jasmine had been taking Ubers everywhere. Everywhere. To work, to the gym, to the grocery store 3 blocks away. Do you know how much you spent on Ubers last month? I showed her the bank statement. $470. That can't be right. It's right. You spent almost $500 on transportation in a city with a metro system. But the metro is confusing. The metro is $5 a day. Uber is $15 per trip. Do the math. I taught her how to use the metro, how to read the train map, how to plan her routes, how to show up to places on time by working backward from when she needed to be there. This is like a logic puzzle, she said, figuring out her commute. Life is a logic puzzle, and you have all the pieces. You just have to put them together. By week 8, Jasmine was transformed. Not completely. She still called me in a panic when she couldn't remember if trash day was Tuesday or Wednesday, but she was managing. She cooked 4 nights a week. She took the metro to work. She paid her bills on time, with reminders on her phone. She cleaned her room, mostly. She was learning. One night, she came home from work excited. "Auntie, guess what?" "What?" "I got invited to happy hour with coworkers and I did the math in my head. 3 drinks at $12 each plus tip would be $45. I had budgeted $30 for social stuff this week. So I went for 1 drink, left cash, and came home." I hugged her. "I'm so proud of you. For turning down drinks, for understanding trade-offs, for making a choice based on your actual budget. That's the most adult thing you've done since you got here." She grinned. "I'm basically thriving now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves." "But you're learning." Month 4 brought a crisis. Jasmine's car, which her parents had bought her, broke down. The repair estimate was $1,500. She called me crying from the mechanic's shop. "Auntie, what do I do?" "What do you think you should do? Call my parents?" "You could. But what did we say about learning to handle things yourself?" "That I need to. But I don't have $1,500. Do you have savings?" "A little." "How much?" $800. "Okay, so you can't pay for the whole thing. Can you put some of it on your credit card that you've been paying down?" "I guess. Or, here's another option. Call your parents. Explain the situation. Ask if they can loan you the $700 you're short. Not give you, loan you. And you pay them back over 6 months. How much would that be per month?" I heard her calculating. "About $120 a month. Can you afford that? If I don't go out to eat. If I keep taking the metro. If you keep living like an adult instead of a kid." "Yes, you can." She called her parents. She explained. She asked for a loan, not a bailout. Marcus was impressed. Linda cried, apparently. They loaned her the money. She got her car fixed. She made her first payment back to them 2 weeks later. "It hurt to transfer that money," she admitted. "Good. Pain means you're learning." "That's sadistic, Auntie." "That's life." By month 6, Jasmine was ready to move out. Not because I was kicking her out, but because she had found a new apartment she could actually afford, had saved up for the security deposit herself, and had a budget that actually worked. The night before she moved, we sat on my porch with wine. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For teaching me how to be a person." I know that sounds dramatic, but I was out here trying to adult, and I had no idea what I was doing. You could have just bailed me out. You could have done everything for me like my parents did, but you made me learn. Even when it sucked, especially when it sucked, that's when real learning happens. I'm going to be okay, right? You're going to be more than okay. You're going to be competent, and that's worth more than any degree. She moved into her new place the next day. It was smaller than her first apartment. The neighborhood wasn't as trendy, but she could afford it on her own, and she knew exactly how every bill would get paid. 2 months later, she called me. "Auntie, I got promoted at work." "That's wonderful." "And I got a raise." Want to know the first thing I did? "What?" "I increased my automatic transfer to savings. 20% of the raise goes straight to savings before I even see it." I got choked up. Look at you being financially responsible. I learned from the best. Oh, and Auntie? I paid off my parents, the whole loan, 6 months early. How? I worked extra hours. I didn't go out. I used the skills you taught me. And you know what felt better than anything? Calling my dad and saying, "We're even." I bet he was proud. He cried. Like, actually cried. He said he was sorry for not preparing me better. He said watching me learn to stand on my own was the best thing I ever did. Now, a year later, Jasmine is thriving. She has an emergency fund. She cooks most of her meals. She knows when all her bills are due. She even helped her younger cousin set up a budget when he started college. Last week, she sent me a photo. It was her credit score. It had gone from poor to good. The caption? From evicted to educated. Thanks, Professor Auntie. I texted back, magna cum laude in life skills. I'm proud of you, Dr. Jasmine. She responded, Doctor of Real Life, the most important degree. And she's right, because at the end of the day, you can have all the formal education in the world. But if you can't pay a light bill on time, navigate a grocery store, or balance your checking account, you're not educated. You're just certified. Real education happens when you learn to survive, to manage, to make your paycheck last until the next paycheck, and to handle life's curveballs without calling for rescue. Jasmine learned that the hard way, but she learned it. And now, when I tell people my niece graduated magna cum laude from Georgetown, I add, and then she got her real education living with me for 6 months. That's the degree that actually matters. Like this video if it touched something in you. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories about what it means to be human, to be family, and to choose love, even when it's complicated. I'll see you next time.